Lesson 63. In the last lesson, we learned about the ablative case, but we did not learn any way to use it in Latin. So in this lesson, we're going to learn an actual way to use the ablative case in Latin. And to do so, we're going to learn a new word, and the new word is in. And that's a preposition that carries a meaning very similar to what it means in English. The Latin word in can mean in, as in inside, or on, as in on top of, or it can mean into. Let me direct your attention for a moment to the line that says meaning. There you see in and on, and then next to that, in parentheses, you can see where it says takes ablative case. And then next to where it says into, you see where it says takes accusative case. That is because the Latin preposition in can be used with either the ablative case or the accusative case, depending on its meaning. You see, the word in has three different meanings. It can mean in, on, or into. But the object of the preposition in will be in one of two cases, depending on the meaning of the word in. If the word in is being used in the sentence to mean in, as in inside, or on, as in on top of, then the object of the preposition in will be in the ablative case. If the word in is being used to mean into, then the object of the preposition in will be in the accusative case. So whenever you see the word in, look at what case the object of the preposition is in, and that will help you to understand what the meaning of in is in that sentence. So let's look down at our first example and get some practice with this. The first practice example says, in casa sum. The word sum means I am, and we have a prepositional phrase which is in casa. Casa has the macron over the letter A, so we know that the word casa there is in the ablative singular, and that is the object of the preposition in. So since the object of the preposition in is in the ablative case, we know that it means either in or on. Because if it meant into, then casa would not be in the ablative case, it would be in the accusative case. And it would say in casam. So in casa is going to mean in the house or on the house. So the sentence will say I am in the house or I am on the house. So the best choice here is I am in the house. Let's look at another example. The next example says in insula sum. Again, sum means I am, and we have a prepositional phrase in insula. We see the macron over the final A in insula. That means it's ablative singular. So again, we can narrow down our choices. We know that in here is going to either mean in or on. And in English, whenever we're talking about being on an island, we say we're on the island. So the best choice here is on. So we'll translate in as on, and the meaning of the sentence will be I am on the island. Now for our last example, agricola in casam ambulat. Here our verb is ambulat. That's the third person singular form of ambulo. So that means he, she, or it walks. We don't need the he, she, or it because agricola is the subject. So the subject and verb are the farmer is walking. And lastly, we have a prepositional phrase, in casam. Here we have the preposition in being used with a word in the accusative case. And since the object of the preposition in is in the accusative, we know that that means that in here means into. So we'll translate in casam as into the house. So our sentence will mean the farmer is walking into the house. So to sum up here, the preposition in can have its object in the accusative case or in the ablative case. If the object of the preposition in is in the accusative, it's going to mean something like into, and if the object of the preposition in is in the ablative, it's going to mean something like in or on. So whenever you see the word in, look at what case the object of the preposition is in, and that will help you translate it. Let's get even more practice now by looking at our exercises. In exercise number 1, sum is the verb, and in casa is the prepositional phrase. Casa is in the ablative case, as you can tell by seeing the macron over the final A, so we'll translate in as inside. So number 1 will say, I am in the house, or I am inside the house. In number 2, est is the verb, but we don't need the he, she, or it in est because nauta is the subject, and we have a prepositional phrase, in insula. The object of the preposition in is in the ablative case. So we'll translate in as either in or on, and since it's talking about an island, the best translation will be on. So number 2 says, the sailor is on the island. In number 3, sunt is the subject, but we don't need the they that's in sunt because nautai is the subject. Non is negating sunt, and we have a prepositional phrase in scapha. The object of the preposition in is in the ablative case, so we'll translate it as either in or on, and since scapha means boat, the best way to render that would be in, to say in the boat. So number 3 will say the sailors are not in the boat. In number 4, sumus is the verb. That means we are. The prepositional phrase in insula means on the island, as in number 2. In number 5, ambulat is the verb, but we don't need the he, she, or it because agricola is the subject, and kirkum kasam is a prepositional phrase. Kirkum takes the accusative case, and that's the case that kasam is in. So kirkum kasam will mean around the house. So number 5 will say the farmer is walking around the house. In number 6, nawagamus is the verb. That means we sail or we are sailing. Saipe means often, and ad insulam means to the island. So number 6 says, we often sail to the island. In number 7, the conjunction sed divides the sentence into 2 independent clauses. In the first clause, est is the verb, but we don't need the he, she, or it in est because femina is the subject. In casa can be translated in the house because the object of the preposition in is in the ablative case. So the first part of the sentence will say, the woman is in the house. In the second part of the sentence, the verb is ambulat. That means he, she, or it walks, or he, she, or it is walking, but we don't need the he, she, or it because agricola is the subject. We have a prepositional phrase, in silwam, and we have the word in being used with the accusative case. Since the object of the preposition in is in the accusative case, that means it's going to mean something like into. So we'll translate in silwam as into the forest. So the second part of the sentence will say, the farmer is walking into the forest. So number 7, as a whole, will say, the woman is in the house, but the farmer is walking into the forest. In number 8, desideramus is the verb. That means we long for or we want, and the direct object of the sentence is patriam, which means homeland. The best translation for desideramus is long for. So let's say that number 8 will say, we are longing for the homeland. In number 9, natat is the verb. That means he, she, or it swims, or he, she, or it is swimming. But we don't need the he, she, or it because puella is the subject. We have a prepositional phrase, prope insulam. Prope means near, so prope insulam will mean near the island. So number 9 will say, the girl is swimming near the island. In number 10, the word sed divides the sentence into 2 independent clauses. The first clause, non es poeta, means you are not a poet. In the second one, portas is the verb. That means you carry, and tabulas is in the accusative plural. That's the direct object. So tabulas portas will mean you carry writing tablets. So the second clause will say you are carrying writing tablets. So as a whole, number 10 will say you are not a poet, but you are carrying writing tablets.